Have you ever felt like your prayers are being sent into a void, as if no one is listening? Maybe you've wondered why, despite your deepest hopes and efforts, the answers you seek don't seem to come. It's frustrating, isn't it? Today, we're diving into this mystery. Together, we'll explore why some prayers feel unanswered and what you can do to change that. Inspired by Allan Kardec's Spiritist teachings and the timeless wisdom of the Gospel according to Spiritism, I'll guide you through 10 key principles to transform the way you pray. What makes this so powerful? I've been studying Spiritism for years and applying these teachings in my own life. What I've discovered is life-changing. Prayer is more than asking. It's a tool for aligning ourselves with God's divine will and purpose. And when we approach it with the right mindset, the results can be truly extraordinary. By the end of this video, you'll know how to make your prayers more effective and deeply fulfilling. These principles aren't just theoretical, they're practical steps you can take today to strengthen your connection with the divine and experience more peace, clarity, and purpose. Are you ready to unlock the power of prayer and take your spiritual journey to the next level? Let's begin by understanding what might be holding you back. Do you ever feel a sense of discouragement when your prayers seem to go unanswered? Maybe you've poured your heart out in moments of desperation, hoping for a breakthrough, but instead, you were met with silence. It's a feeling that can leave anyone questioning their faith or even doubting the power of prayer itself. I want you to know, you're not alone in this experience. So many of us have felt that frustration, wondering if we're doing something wrong or if we're simply not deserving of God's help. It's easy to fall into this cycle of doubt when we don't see immediate results or when life's challenges seem to multiply despite our efforts. I've been there, too. I remember a time in my life when I was overwhelmed by problems, constantly praying for solutions that never seemed to come. It felt like I was shouting into the void. It wasn't until I discovered Spiritism and delved into Allan Kardec's teachings that I realized something crucial. The problem wasn't with God or the act of prayer itself. The problem was with how I was approaching prayer. You see, prayer isn't just about asking for things to happen. It's about creating a connection, aligning our intentions with divine wisdom, and understanding that sometimes the answer we receive may not be the one we expect. Think about this. If you're trying to tune into a radio station but your frequency is off, you won't hear the message clearly. It doesn't mean the station isn't broadcasting. It means you need to adjust your receiver. Prayer works the same way. In this video, we'll identify the common barriers that might be blocking your prayers and show you how to align with God's frequency to receive the blessings meant for you. Let's take a closer look at the solutions that can change everything. Now that we've identified the frustration many of us feel with unanswered prayers, it's time to shift our focus towards solutions. The good news is that there are practical steps you can take to transform your prayer life and strengthen your connection with the divine. In this video, we'll explore 10 essential principles that can unlock the true power of prayer. These include understanding the deeper purpose of prayer, cultivating unwavering faith, aligning your intentions with God's wisdom, and embracing humility and persistence. Each of these principles is grounded in Spiritist teachings and designed to help you not only pray more effectively but also experience a profound sense of peace and spiritual clarity. So, let's dive into these principles, starting with the foundation of it all, understanding the purpose of prayer. The foundation of any meaningful prayer is understanding its true purpose. Prayer is not merely a way to ask for things or to plead for specific outcomes. Instead, It's a sacred opportunity to align ourselves with God's will and to nurture our spiritual growth. Think of prayer as a bridge between your soul and the divine, a connection that allows you to express gratitude, seek guidance, and attune yourself to the higher purpose that God has planned for you. When we pray only to fulfill our desires without considering God's wisdom, we limit the true potential of this connection. For instance, imagine asking for material wealth but not considering how it aligns with your spiritual journey. If that wealth could lead you astray or harm your growth, God's response might seem like silence. But in reality, it's a loving redirection, a sign to focus on what truly matters. Spiritist teachings emphasize that prayer is a tool for transformation. It's about seeking harmony with the divine laws and opening yourself to receive not just what you want, but what you truly need. This shift in perspective can turn prayer into a deeply fulfilling practice, rather than a source of frustration. To put this into action, reflect on your recent prayers. Ask yourself, am I seeking alignment with God's will, or am I focused on my own desires? By centering your prayers on spiritual growth and connection, you'll begin to see them take on a more profound and transformative power. With this understanding, let's move to the next step, cultivating faith in your prayers. Faith is the lifeblood of effective prayer. Without it, even the most heartfelt words can feel hollow, as if they're falling on deaf ears. Faith is what bridges the gap between our intentions and the divine. It's the energy that carries our prayers to God and, in turn, opens us to receive His guidance and blessings. Think about this. When you ask someone for help, do you hesitate or second-guess their willingness to assist you? That hesitation creates doubt, and doubt weakens the connection. Prayer works in a similar way. When we lack faith, we unconsciously block the flow of divine energy. The Gospel according to Spiritism teaches us that faith must be unwavering, rooted in trust that God always listens and responds in a way that's best for our spiritual journey. This doesn't mean we'll always get what we want, but it assures us that we'll receive what we need. For example, imagine praying for a new job but feeling deep down that it's impossible. That inner doubt can act as a barrier. On the other hand, praying with faith, believing that God has a plan and trusting in His timing, can shift your perspective and open doors in ways you never expected. To cultivate this kind of faith, start small. Begin by expressing gratitude in your prayers for blessings you've already received. This practice builds confidence in God's presence in your life. Over time, you'll notice that your faith strengthens, and with it, the effectiveness of your prayers. Now that we've discussed faith, let's look at another critical aspect, ensuring that what you ask for aligns with God's wisdom. One of the most common reasons prayers feel unanswered is that we may not be asking for the right things. Often, our requests stem from personal desires rather than alignment with God's divine plan. Spiritist teachings remind us that prayer is not about bending God's will to ours, it's about seeking harmony with His wisdom. Imagine asking for something material, like a larger house or more money. While there's nothing wrong with wanting comfort or security, it's essential to consider whether these desires align with your spiritual growth. Could fulfilling this request distract you from your higher purpose? Sometimes, what we want isn't what we truly need. Think of a child asking their parent for candy before dinner. The parent may say no, not because they don't love the child, but because they understand the greater need for nourishment. In the same way, God's responses are always guided by His perfect understanding of what is best for us. To ensure you're asking for the right things, start your prayers with a moment of reflection. Ask yourself, is this request aligned with my spiritual journey? Does it contribute to my growth, or is it driven by fleeting desires? This intentional pause helps clarify your motives and brings your prayers closer to God's will. Additionally, consider ending your prayers with the phrase, "Thy will be done." This simple act of surrender demonstrates your trust in God's wisdom and allows Him to guide you toward what truly serves your highest good. Next, we'll discuss how to let go of ego and approach prayer with humility, opening the door to deeper spiritual connection. One of the greatest obstacles to effective prayer is ego. When our prayers are driven by self-centered desires, we unknowingly create a barrier between ourselves and the divine. Spiritism teaches us that true prayer comes from a place of humility, not entitlement. Ego can make us feel like we're entitled to specific outcomes or that our needs outweigh the greater good. For example, have you ever prayed for something out of frustration or envy, perhaps asking for something simply because others have it? These prayers are often rooted in comparison rather than genuine spiritual need. Instead, prayer should begin with gratitude and humility. Recognize that everything you have, your life, your challenges, and your blessings, is part of a divine plan. Approaching God with an open heart and a willingness to accept His wisdom allows your prayers to flow more naturally. Here's a simple practice to shift away from ego-driven prayers. Before making any requests, spend a few moments expressing gratitude. Thank God for the blessings you've already received, no matter how small they may seem. Gratitude dissolves ego and helps you focus on what truly matters. Also, avoid attaching conditions to your prayers. Instead of saying, "I need this to happen in order to be happy," try, "Please guide me toward what will bring lasting peace and growth." This approach not only strengthens your connection with God but also helps you let go of expectations that can lead to disappointment. When we release the ego, we create space for God's grace to work in our lives. Now, let's explore another important concept: trusting in God's timing. Patience is a virtue, and when it comes to prayer, understanding God's timing is essential. Sometimes, our prayers feel unanswered not because they've been ignored, but because the time isn't right. Spiritist teachings remind us that the divine operates on a timeline far beyond our understanding, always prioritizing our spiritual growth over immediate gratification. Imagine planting a seed in the ground. No matter how much you water it or how badly you want it to grow, it will only sprout when the conditions are perfect. Prayer works similarly. What you're asking for may require time to unfold or for certain elements in your life to align first. It's also important to recognize that delays can be acts of divine protection. For instance, you might pray for a new job opportunity, but what if taking that job right now would lead to unexpected challenges or detract from another blessing on the horizon? Trust that God sees the bigger picture and works in ways that are always for your ultimate good. To practice patience in prayer, remind yourself daily that God's timing is perfect. When you feel frustration creeping in, say, "I trust in your plan and in your timing." This affirmation not only calms your mind but also reinforces your faith in God's wisdom. Let go of the need for immediate results, and instead focus on staying open to the lessons and blessings unfolding around you. You'll soon realize that what may feel like a delay is often a preparation for something greater. Next, we'll explore the importance of persistence in prayer and why consistency is key to building a strong spiritual connection. Consistency is one of the most overlooked yet powerful aspects of prayer. Many people pray once or twice about an issue and, when they don't see immediate results, they give up. Spiritism teaches us that persistent prayer is a reflection of genuine faith and trust in God's wisdom. Consider this: if you were writing a letter to someone important, you'd ensure it was clear and heartfelt, wouldn't you? Now imagine that same letter gets misplaced. Wouldn't you try again, making sure your message reaches its destination? Prayer works in a similar way. Persistence shows dedication and a willingness to keep the lines of communication open with the divine. The Gospel according to Spiritism reminds us of Jesus' teaching: ask, and it will be given to you; seek, and you will find; knock, and the door will be opened to you. Notice the verbs: ask, seek, knock. They imply action, effort, and repetition. Persistent prayer isn't about nagging God. It's about reinforcing your faith, refining your intentions, and aligning yourself more deeply with His will. Each time you pray with sincerity, you strengthen your spiritual connection and open yourself to divine guidance. Here's how you can practice persistence in prayer. Set aside a specific time each day for reflection and prayer. Even if it's just 5 minutes, the habit of daily prayer creates a rhythm that nurtures your faith. Additionally, revisit your prayers periodically, refining them as your understanding of God's plan becomes clearer. Remember, persistence in prayer is less about repeating the same words and more about deepening your trust in God's presence and timing. Now, let's delve into how your past actions and karma might influence the outcomes of your prayers. Karma is a fundamental concept in Spiritism, teaching us that our past actions, whether in this life or previous ones, shape the circumstances we face today. When it comes to prayer, unresolved karmic lessons can play a significant role in how and when our prayers are answered. Think of karma as a spiritual balancing system. It's not about punishment, but rather about learning and growth. For example, if you've made choices in the past that caused harm, the challenges you face now may be opportunities to understand, atone for, and evolve beyond those actions. This doesn't mean your prayers are ignored. It means they may be answered in ways that support your spiritual progress. Let's say you're praying for financial stability. While the immediate solution might seem like an influx of money, the deeper answer could be lessons in discipline, gratitude, or generosity that prepare you for lasting abundance. To reflect on your karma, take time to examine patterns in your life. Are there recurring struggles or themes? These could be areas where unresolved lessons are manifesting. Pair this reflection with prayer, asking for clarity and the strength to face these challenges with courage and humility. Another powerful practice is forgiveness. By forgiving others and seeking forgiveness for your own actions, you release karmic burdens that might be hindering your spiritual progress. Spiritist teachings emphasize that forgiveness is not just a gift to others, it's a gift to yourself, freeing your soul to move forward. Understanding karma shifts our perspective on prayer from seeking immediate answers to embracing long-term growth. Now, let's explore the role of humility in deepening your connection with the divine. Humility is one of the most essential virtues in prayer. It's through humility that we approach God with openness, sincerity, and reverence. Spiritism teaches us that pride and entitlement create barriers to divine connection, while humility clears the way for grace to flow into our lives. When we pray from a place of humility, we acknowledge our limitations and recognize that God's wisdom far surpasses our understanding. This doesn't mean seeing ourselves as unworthy, rather, it means approaching God as a child approaches a loving parent, trusting, honest, and eager to learn. Think about the difference between demanding and requesting. A prayer rooted in pride might sound like, "Why hasn't this happened yet? I deserve this." In contrast, a humble prayer might say, "God, I trust you. Please guide me toward what is best for my soul." The latter opens your heart to divine guidance, while the former creates resistance. To cultivate humility in your prayers, start by reflecting on the blessings you've already received. Gratitude naturally fosters humility, reminding you of God's care and provision in your life. Next, release any expectations of how or when your prayers should be answered. Surrendering control is a powerful act of faith. Humility also involves listening. Prayer isn't just speaking to God, it's also about creating space for Him to speak to you. In moments of silence, you may find clarity, peace, or a nudge toward the next step in your journey. When you embrace humility, your prayers become a genuine dialogue with the divine, free of ego and full of trust. Next, let's explore how gratitude can amplify the power of your prayers. Gratitude is one of the most powerful energies you can bring to prayer. It transforms your focus from what you lack to what you already have, creating a profound shift in your spiritual connection. Spiritist teachings emphasize that gratitude amplifies the vibrational energy of your prayers, making them resonate more deeply with the divine. When you start your prayer with gratitude, you acknowledge God's constant presence and care in your life. This act not only honors God but also opens your heart to receive even more blessings. Imagine saying, "Thank you, God, for the strength to face today's challenges," instead of starting with a list of requests. It sets a tone of trust and abundance. Gratitude also helps reframe difficult situations. For instance, if you're facing a personal struggle, try thanking God for the lessons hidden within it. This perspective doesn't minimize your pain but allows you to see trials as opportunities for growth. Over time, this practice can bring peace and resilience, even in the face of adversity. To infuse more gratitude into your prayers, create a habit of listing 3 things you're thankful for before making any requests. They don't need to be grand gestures. Sometimes the simplest blessings, like a sunny day or a kind word, can remind you of God's grace. Additionally, keep a gratitude journal where you write down moments of answered prayers or unexpected blessings. Revisiting these entries can reignite your faith during times of doubt. Gratitude shifts your prayer from a focus on scarcity to one of abundance, strengthening your connection to God. Now, let's conclude this segment by discussing how to make prayer a consistent and transformative daily practice. Consistency is the key to making prayer a transformative part of your life. Just as physical exercise strengthens your body, daily prayer nurtures your soul and builds a deeper connection with the divine. Spiritist teachings remind us that prayer is not an occasional act but a continuous dialogue with God. When prayer becomes a daily habit, it creates a rhythm of peace and spiritual focus in your life. Imagine starting each morning with a moment of gratitude, surrendering your worries to God, and seeking guidance for the day ahead. This simple practice can set a tone of clarity and calm, no matter what challenges arise. Making prayer a routine doesn't have to be overwhelming. Start small by dedicating just 5 minutes a day. Find a quiet space where you can reflect, express gratitude, and align your intentions with God's will. Over time, you may naturally feel drawn to extend these moments of connection. To help establish consistency, pair prayer with an existing habit. For example, you could pray after brushing your teeth in the morning or before going to bed at night. Associating prayer with a regular activity makes it easier to integrate into your daily life. Another effective practice is keeping a prayer journal. Use it to write down your thoughts, intentions, and reflections. This helps you track your spiritual progress and recognize how your prayers are being answered, often in ways you didn't expect. Daily prayer transforms your spiritual journey from something occasional to a way of life. It builds faith, fosters gratitude, and brings a profound sense of connection to God. Now that we've covered all 10 principles, let's reflect on the importance of taking action and staying motivated in your prayer practice. As we've explored these 10 principles, one truth stands out. Prayer has the power to transform not only your circumstances but also your soul. However, this transformation requires your active participation. It's not enough to simply listen or understand these teachings. The real change happens when you put them into practice consistently. Think of prayer as planting seeds in a garden. Each time you pray with faith, gratitude, and humility, you're nurturing the soil of your spiritual life. But just like a garden, it takes time, care, and persistence for those seeds to grow. Trust that even if you don't see immediate results, something beautiful is unfolding beneath the surface. It's also important to remember that challenges and doubts are part of the journey. There may be days when your faith feels weak or when you question whether your prayers are making a difference. In those moments, turn back to the teachings of Spiritism and remind yourself that every sincere prayer reaches God, even if the answer isn't immediately clear. Here's a powerful thought to carry with you. Every prayer you offer with an open heart brings you closer to your highest self and to the divine. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence, trust, and growth. So, as you go forward, I encourage you to take small, consistent steps. Reflect on your prayer life, make adjustments where needed, and commit to building this sacred habit. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. God is always with you, guiding and supporting you every step of the way. Now, let's conclude with a call to action and a message of hope to inspire your next steps. If these principles have touched your heart or given you a new perspective on prayer, I invite you to take the next step in your spiritual journey. Start by committing to one of the practices we discussed today, whether it's cultivating faith, infusing gratitude into your prayers, or simply making prayer a daily habit. I'd love to hear about your experiences. Share in the comments how prayer has impacted your life or what challenges you've faced along the way. Let's create a space of encouragement and inspiration where we can all grow together. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can stay connected and explore even more Spiritist teachings. Together, we can continue this journey of spiritual growth, one step at a time. Now, let's end with a message of hope to inspire you as you move forward. As we conclude, I want to leave you with a powerful reminder. Prayer is more than words, it's a profound connection between your soul and the divine. Each prayer, offered with sincerity and faith, is a step toward aligning with God's infinite wisdom and love. Remember, unanswered prayers are not rejections, they are opportunities for growth, reflections of divine timing, or gentle nudges toward a better path. Trust that every prayer you offer is heard, and in God's perfect way and timing, it will bring about what is truly best for you. Think of your spiritual journey as a beautiful, unfolding story. Every challenge, every triumph, and every prayer is a chapter that leads you closer to understanding your purpose and experiencing the joy of divine connection. Take this message with you. The power of prayer doesn't lie in the outcome, but in the transformation it brings to your heart and spirit. By practicing the principles we've discussed today, you can create a life filled with peace, gratitude, and unwavering faith. As you step into your next prayer, remember to pause, reflect, and align your heart with God's will. Let this be a moment of renewal, where you release doubt and embrace trust in the divine. May your prayers guide you, uplift you, and remind you that you are never alone on this journey. The light of Spiritism is with you, and the blessings of God surround you always. Thank you for spending this time with me. May your path be filled with love, peace, and spiritual clarity. Until next time, stay blessed.